Lads, we're back. Hello.
We
We're
are
still
back.
here.
Woo! Hockey
Yes.
trade deadline. Another week closer.
I love our energy today.
Yeah, it's not like this is the third or fourth time we tried to start the show. It's only the second, so
Yeah.
the shenanigans. Lads, how are we feeling today?
Pretty good.
Give me that, Alex. You have to feel certain good because news of the weekend. It was a Friday night. It was late in the day. I was getting ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Elliot Friedman drops a little snippet.
Tyler Mott will not be playing today.
Exactly. All right.
Noel Achari to the Leafs.
Okay. Damn it. Said that St. Louis and Toronto were working on something, and oh boy, it's pretty big. The Toronto Maple Leafs acquire the big headline: Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Achari. We can get into that later because I thought there's a nice little nugget with Achari I wanted to talk about. From the St. Louis Blues, their captain, the former Selke winner, the former Conn Smythe winner, former Avalanche, former Sabre, where he hated the game of hockey, and now he's playing for his hometown team. In exchange, the Leafs do give up Mikhail Abramov, Adam Gaudette, who we all remember is on that team, a first this year, a third-round pick this year, a second-round pick in 2024. They also send a fourth-round pick to the Wild, who helped make the money work. The way this works, basically, the Blues retain 25% of this. No, 50% of the salary. Minnesota take 25%, and that's why they get the pick. The Leafs also get in this deal Josh Pillar. Late round pick, I believe, in 2019.
Fourth round. I think.
Whatever. The Leafs get their guy. They have been doing something I have been screaming about on this show for years now. Get an elite center because you win down the middle. And how did it look last night? Ryan O'Reilly ends up centering John Tavares on the wing and Mitchell Marner on the other one.
I was going to say, you asked him to get an elite center, and they're not even going to do this thing you want them to do.
What do you mean? Oh, to split him down the middle of him.
Yeah.
O'Reilly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, because here's the thing. If you're in a pinch, you just do that.
Yeah.
You just do it.
I think heading into the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
Yeah, it's only been one game.
Yeah, exactly. It's been one game. I love how last episode we were talking about Dubas's press conference, and I was like, I don't want this team to make half-ass moves again. And the next time we record, they did the one thing that I asked them to do, which was bring in a player who will make an impact. Because if you look at what the teams let's just look at the teams within the division do. Or have done in the past is bring in guys who have made an impact, and the Leafs really haven't done that in the last couple of years. And I think this is an impact. Like, no matter where he plays, whether that's in the top six, whether that's third line center, whether that's wherever, I think that's an impact. That's a really big impact. And he also, like, I don't want to discredit Jake, like the work Jake Muzzin has done, because listen, man, that guy's a winner too, but this guy is a winner, right? This guy is a winner. He has a Selke. You mentioned this before. I'm just repeating again. Won the cup, won the Conn Smythe, right? Like, that's what everyone, like, if you think about everything that we have said that the Leafs should get and what people outside of this podcast has said the Leafs should get, he really fits most of what they need. The one thing I would argue he doesn't fit is the scoring aspect, but like, he can score. He won the Conn Smythe. Like, you don't get that by not scoring. So I think that I don't necessarily have an issue that he's not the top six scorer that everyone has been clamoring for. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. I won't lie.
It's funny because I think Frank Cervelli, the one who's tweeted it out, that Dubas said he wouldn't want to go for another rental, but I don't think this is just any rental. I think it is what you said, Alex, that there's all those aspects of it that he brings in: leadership, secondary scoring. He's a proven winner. And I think this was the right move. So I'm going to use a Tim McAuliffe word right now. So last episode, we talked about Timo Meyer being number one
Sure.
on the guy that Alex wanted, or a lot of Leafs fans also wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not per se the Ryan O'Reilly, I think, at this point of his career or the way that he's having this season. It's not the, and this is the Tim McAuliffe reference, it's not the sexy name that you would want, but I think it's the right name you would want.
So, by the way, his cap hit right now is $1.75 million. That's incredible. Here's where I'm gonna sort of I'm gonna help point out the scoring aspect of Ryan O'Reilly.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's normally very, very safe for 60 points.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good. But at least from the data I was looking on Twitter from people like Shayna Goldman and that was basically what was holding back O'Reilly a lot when it comes to racking up points was his line mates weren't finishing.
And who were his line? Did she say who his line
I didn't.
mates were?
I didn't look explicitly into it, but then you got to think right now, like at least from the start of the year, Robert Thomas wasn't doing very well.
Right.
Tarasenko hasn't had his great year like he did last season. The Blues, it's been a mess there this entire season. When you go from sort of a super downturn to here's Mitch Marner and John Tavares. Including one of the best passers in the league with Marner, who is turned into a capable 30-goal guy if he wants to. I love the move. Like, here's the thing, O'Reilly, I think you're going to see an up in scoring from him.
Mm-hmm.
The penalty kill is just such a massive upgrade, and putting him on power play too. And they were talking about that on the panel last night. That's fantastic. You have room to make him another move, and Frank Cervelli was pointing at the fact maybe the Leafs have one more move on them with the LTI stuff and all that gabagool. There's a move. If you still want to get that D with Jake McCabe, you can do it. I mean, if you want to go real nuts and go with Jacob Chicker, and that's even great. But I that's the thing with O'Reilly is just I think you're going to see that up in scoring because again he has line mates that can finish, and I mean damn good line mates. That top six overall is just so stupid good now. When we look at the return, or not the return, sorry, because I just want to touch on the Blues because I do think people are dogging them a bit unfairly right now. We will say, though, Niemela does not get moved. Matthew Knives does not get moved. Dubas says basically because of those prospects, he's okay with giving up draft capital. Not something they do every year, but mentioning the point that this season, I'm paraphrasing here, they got to go for it. I think that's also really, really good for Toronto.
God, I'm so happy he said that. Like, because, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
That's fine.
It's that one specific point where, and again, like I'm arguing with people on Twitter, so it's again kind of feels stupid, but there's portions of the fan base who are under the impression that you don't have to go all in this year because you look at Boston, you look at Tampa. It's like, but people have been saying that for 3 years, right? Like it's been multiple years where you're like, maybe next year, maybe okay, but no, like at some point you have to say enough. Like the Leafs are at a point where you looked at the things they went through at the beginning of the season and on the back end, where they had literally missing 3 or 4 of their top 6 defensemen at times, and were able to sustain that, are able to do fine without them. You're having guys who are playing in the AHL who are able to come up and do fine, and you have the ability, like, this is a year to do it because even if guys in the bottom 6 go down in the playoffs, at least there's a guy who's going to replace them. No one's going to have the best bottom 6 if their guys are injured. Like, what I don't know if that sentence makes sense, but they always say you need like 8 or 9 defensemen. Your 9th defenseman is not going to be a top 4 defenseman. That's an idea doesn't make sense, right? Like that's just. So this is for multiple reasons other than that specifically, this is a year to do it. You look Dubas last year of his contract. Matthews and Nylander will be allowed to extend this coming summer. Like there's just a lot of factors. Sorry, continue.
I think yeah, I like what you brought up, that it's you don't play to your division, you learn to play against your division. And that's what we've been saying the last few years is that's the way Toronto's been stockpiling, the way they should be trying to build the team. And I kind of agree with you that it's just like you play to your role, you don't play to the moment of things. And there is a lot of security there. That's what I like about the Toronto team is that they're just slotting in. And if this is really the year I've mentioned before, 2015 Blue Jays, Alex Anthopoulos' last year does these types of moves. There was no guarantee David Price was going to come back. He didn't come back, but those are the types of moves you make if you know you're confident in yourself and in the team.
Another thing from Toronto's point of view, I want to mention here, and it's something I kept thinking about. Bottom six, I've been critical of when it comes to Toronto. They get a fourth line or third line, whatever you want to distinct between the Camp line and the now Nola Chari line. That's a guy I think it's been mentioned that several teams have been interested in. I want to say Boston was, or I think he was.
He was a Bruin. He was a Bruin. The two times the Leafs played the Bruins, he was a Bruin. And then
Florida kind of overpaid him to leave.
That was it. Florida, that was the team I was thinking of. So they go get Nola Chari, and the reason I bring this up is I wasn't that surprised when I thought about it that they went and got a Chari, because if we look at Kyle Dubas' history, obviously last year it wasn't just Mark Giordano, it was Colin Blackwell. We look at the Jack Campbell trade, it was Kyle Clifford. He likes getting a second guy in there. Always likes getting a second guy in there. Mm-hmm. So what I like about the move too is also getting Nola Chari. Again, I think O'Reilly's a super sexy name. And obviously, never forget he was very close to being a Montreal Canadian a couple of years ago. God damn it. Nola Chari's not a sexy name, but I think you win with guys like Nola Chari in your bottom six. That's what I really, really like.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just I think we're at a point where, listen, if Ryan O'Reilly is in the top six, I think your third line is Engvall, Kemp, Yarncrook. That's what it was last night. It's been like that when Yarncrook's not in the tops, playing on the second line. I feel like that's your third line as long as Ryan O'Reilly's in your top six. But while that's happening, it with the Chari, I think you kind of have an idea of what most of your fourth line looks like now. Like I don't know if Pontus Holmberg is in the AHL or if he's sick. I know that was a thing, and I can't find him on Cap Friendly because that would be he's in the AHL. Sorry, but their bottom six is like Zach Aston-Reese, Nola Chari, and right now it's Alex Kerfoot. Listen, we'll get to what the next move for the Leafs are. I don't think Alex Kerfoot's a Leaf past whenever the trade deadline is. I know nothing, but that's just my guess. Mm-hmm. And I think someone will fill that role, whether it's Pontus Holmberg, whether that's Joey Anderson, whether that's a guy they bring in, who the hell knows?
Matthew Knight.
I don't know if Matthew Knight is playing on the fourth line. Whatever. Besides the point, conversation for a different day. I think bringing Nola Chari in gives you a fourth line center that you can be more than okay with.
So I want to look at the St. Louis Blues before we quickly go to Toronto here. Again, people are dogging on the Blues, maybe not loving their return. Here's the way I look at it, guys, and you let me know if I'm moving the goalpost. From the moment they named O'Reilly captain, it really feels like, from what we know, that Tarasenko was never going to stay. We look at, if they are sort of retooling here, they get rid of a UFA in Ryan O'Reilly, who got them a Stanley Cup. That's pretty good. Here's the way I look at it for the Blues. They've got young guys. They've got Jake Neighbors and that. Their D is a bit of a mess, and it's kind of old. Fair enough.
And expensive.
However, they have their two probably core young guys locked up with Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou. And going into this draft, because of these two moves they've done, moving out two of their stars, they have 3 first-round picks in what looks to be a pretty sexy draft. Now, these aren't going to be the most luxurious first-round picks, but you're stocking up. I think they're in a worse position. So I feel like you can be in a lot worse position than the Blues are in right now. I don't hate the return. Again, it's not like O'Reilly not had extra years on their deals or whatever. And I think if you're the Blues last year, you're going to keep going for it because you're a damn good team and you just won the couple of years ago. But like I don't hate it for the Blues. Could you do better? Probably. But just looking at the situation they were in, if I'm a Blues fan, I'm not super upset about the way they're looking right now.
And they're also not done selling, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, but they have Ivan Barbashev will be gone. I know a couple. I was just listening to something. I don't remember the team they were talking about, but it was Ray and Dregs, and Ferrara was talking about Thomas Greiss, and that's a guy who, listen, like, fine, he's 37 years old, but he has this year left in that. So if there's a team looking for some type of insurance on the back end, that's a guy they can go and get. Like, that's not going to fetch you a first or a second, but fine, you'll get a mid-round pick out of that, which, listen, dog it all you want, but that's fine.
I like to call that the David Riddick return.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever he was traded for, like a third or a fourth a couple of years
Just the
ago.
insurance there.
I agree. Like, I don't necessarily think they did poorly at all. Like, if you look at, it's okay, from Tarasenko's perspective, like, I don't, do people think that he could have gone for more? Like, I just, what am I?
I think it's more the O'Reilly trade. I think a lot of things made that the Leafs did highway robbery.
Oh, no. Like, but they did highway, like, they got more for O'Reilly than they did for Tarasenko.
I think, and you know, I could be wrong here, but this is my thought is the other names involved along with the draft picks, because Adam Gaudette's just a stopgap there, like at this point.
That's a contract.
Yeah, that's a contract. Mikhail Abramov, you know, still a solid prospect, but it's not the, you know, featured prospect that the Leafs have talked about before in trade discussions.
Yeah.
It's how, like, listen, Meyer's different because there's team control, and you wouldn't be surprised if New Jersey make that move and Alexander Holtz goes the other way. Because of the control with Meyer, you're not surprised by it. I think we have to have a look. How often does an A-plus prospect really get dealt for a rental? Doesn't really make sense. I think we're
question. Owen Tippett, what was he when he got traded?
He's like a B-. Okay.
So as long as we agree he's not a prospect. Okay.
I'm trying to think. There have been a few. Could get back to me on this because
I don't think so.
I think about it.
Like, I don't. Again, we're going back to Erik Karlsson, but again, that's so different. That's a full year.
Yeah,
it just doesn't happen.
Him, they didn't get him at the deadline. They had all the time. Gave him that extension. Probably have to move it now, but you know, it just again, even if they re-sign O'Reilly, because let's be honest, probably O'Reilly's best hockey, it could probably be this year and next.
Yeah,
he's 32. Even if they re-sign him, let's say it's a fair number. They've said that, what was that line? Like, sometimes you got to live with someone before you get married.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I like it for the Blues. I like it. Okay. The move for the Leafs, I think it's safe to say, is probably a defenseman.
Yeah.
Who is the defenseman?
Luke Schenn.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about Luke Schenn, right? Let's have a discussion. Let's have this discussion.
Did you see the quote he had though?
Last week? I did it.
Okay. The quote, and you know, it's not direct, but he talked about how the last few years, you know, in his career, he felt like he wasn't really wanted as much. And then now there's this trade buzz going on, but he said his heart is still in Vancouver.
So, and that's nice. That's exactly what you want Luke Schenn to say. If you are anybody in management or that head, or more so coaching staff, that is exactly what you want Luke Schenn to say. Because let's be honest, it's not always fantastic. What those players say to the media sometimes. So the rumors about Luke Schenn moving for a first or a second are out the door. Like that's not happening. Right?
Is he this year's Ben Sherratt?
Dude, they pretty much said that's not happening. I'll go look after. That's
Wait,
what
who-
it seems like.
You know what we gotta do?
That's what I read out of Vancouver. At least it seemed like he's not this first. No one's offering that. So unless someone decides to offer that randomly, I don't know if it's going to happen. But where does Luke Shen play in this lineup? Who is he taking out?
Justin Hall? Is that the easy? Is that the
Okay,
cheat
so
code
you're
free
set.
space
That's
answer?
the cheat code free space answer. Would you play Luke Shen over, let's say, Connor Timmins? Because he's not playing over Liljegren. He's not playing over Brody.
It depends, what you want out of I think when you get the slower, grittier hockey, I'd put Luke Shen in there.
Well, think of it like this: if you're going Game 7 in the playoffs, who's the coach going to trust more? A coach is going to trust Luke Shen more.
This coach would trust Justin Hall over Connor Timmins. So, let's not get ahead. Let's not get ahead of. I understand. Let's not get ahead of ourselves on that. I just listen. If the price is a mid-round pick, screw it. Go for Luke Shen. That's fine. But to me, you're not making. I just don't see the benefit of taking a swing on a defenseman if he's not an improvement over anyone you have in this lineup right now. And frankly, McCabe, fine. He is an improvement over Sandin right now. I would not say, listen, maybe I'm too harsh on him. I wouldn't take Gio out of the lineup for Jake McCabe. Gavrikov, I'm not touching Vladislav Gavrikov, guys. Not happening. And who else? Who else is out there of significance?
May I take you through the Adam Fluger 201 podcast? Big board of trade and speculation.
Big board.
I thought you were gonna say Joel Edmondson, and I was gonna lose my mind.
Okay, this is what I was gonna mention. If we're having these types of what is Luke Shen, for example, just as an example, we have to have Curtis on to predict it.
Why?
Now and then we'll know what will happen.
He's not coming on until he apologizes. Anyway.
Wait, okay.
He's already come on since.
And let me say this about the Justin Hall, Luke Shen thing. Do you trust Sheldon Keefe to put in Luke Shen, Justin Hall, or Timmins?
Listen, I think he'd put Luke Shen in.
There you go.
But if Luke Shen comes in, Justin Hall is not a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Then would you really be that sad about it if it was Luke Shen instead?
No, but
it's Justin Hall.
Yes, I okay. If it's a 1-for-1 deal, let's go ahead. But why not go and try something a little bit bigger?
So here are the defensemen I have on the board. Obviously not Edmondson.
No.
We mentioned Luke Shen. I don't know if Tyler Myers. That's
the funniest thing I've ever read in my life.
If Tyler Myers happens, there's double retention. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Is Nick Seeler a defenseman?
Yeah.
I think he is.
On the Flyers.
Yeah, Nick Seeler.
Okay.
That could happen. Not him. Carson Soucy is available. Dmitry Kulikov, the poor man's defensive pickup every year at the deadline. John Klingberg, who I just put a sad face next to because that's been a disaster.
That guy's lost so much money.
Shane Gostisbehere, who is day to day at this point. He could be back.
Yeah, but I don't think that fits what the Leafs need.
McCabe, obviously, but if you're getting McCabe, you're probably giving up your 2024 first. Risky, maybe a little risky. Matt Dumba. Yeah, he's been all right. Matthias Ekholm, I think that deal is too big.
So much money.
Yeah.
One of Sean Walker or Matt Roy.
I have kind of a vendetta against Matt Roy.
Why?
He's the one that knocked out Nick Robertson for the season.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
That's not. Justin Braun.
Okay.
Even though it was said this guy's probably going to the West Coast, Nikita Zaitsev.
Dude, if Nikita Zaitsev comes back to Toronto, we're gonna have a serious problem on this podcast.
Did you guys? Okay, so we've been using a lot of former Leafs names here, right? And do you remember during the NBA deadline where 8 players went back to their original teams?
Yes.
And then it's just all those jokes. Everyone's like, "Oh, here's the first Photoshop look of this person in this New Jersey. How do you like that?"
It was very easy day for some of them.
Yeah.
The issue is these guys. I just clearly no one available. If they're gonna make a move on D, I just don't see those players being of impact. Like you're gonna take Rasmus Sandin out for player X, Y, or Z. I just have trouble. With that.
Unless he's going the other way for a Chikrin move.
Sure. Yeah, but that's a swing. You know what I mean? Like that's a swing. What I'm saying is, okay, let me ask this legitimate. I mean this sincerely. So you listed like almost 5 to 10 defensemen. How many of those defensemen are better than the Leafs' 7th defenseman or 8th defenseman, who is Jordy Ben?
I think a few of them. Jordy
okay,
Ben. Listen,
a couple of them. Fine, yes, McCabe.
I'm not the one to ask about Jordy Ben. You know, I know. I don't like that player.
You listed a lot of like Jake McCabe, obviously, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, far better. Jake McCabe, far better. You listed a lot of depth defensemen. What are we doing?
Well,
like if that's the other move, these guys know how to hype things up, is what I'll say. If that's the other move they're talking about.
That's all I got.
No, that's okay. It's not you. I mean, Toronto media is great at hyping things up.
All right. Anything else on this?
That's actually a good question, by the way.
What?
No, that's a good question.
How many of the guys are better than Jordy Ben?
Because I think Gavrikov.
Discussion for that's
another day.
Gavrikov is.
Yes.
Just like the way the Blues are. It's like last year, you know, it's the highest of highs, and then this year, just when things kind of settle. Yeah, I don't know. It's not too exciting.
Anyway, let's keep going here. Yeah, I think that's good. Enough to beat Tampa. Because ultimately, that's what all of this is about.
No, obviously. Listen, say what you texted me.
What? What
you texted me? Yeah. After they made the trade, the morning after.
Hold on. That's you blocking Mike. Me texting about Joe Edmondson.
There was something you said specifically about Tampa.
Oh, I know what I said. I want to know what you two think.
No.
Though.
Yeah, okay.
I think it does, yeah. I think O'Reilly's enough. I thought they were going to beat I thought the Leafs were making the finals last year.
I mean, you never know with Game 7s, right?
You never know. The issue, dude, like I want to say yes so bad. The issue I have is I don't know. Like
Here's the thing. None of this matters if Samsonov can't keep up with Vasilevsky or Matt Murray. But I mean, this podcast is Team Samsonov.
Team Samsonov.
Yeah,
and Team Joe Wall.
Yeah, like that. That's all. It's not. I wouldn't even say it's. Yes, okay. Let's call it keep up. That's a good way. Like the issue is we can always look. Like I don't know if you saw Pierre LeBrun's article after the fact where he asked the same executives a different question. And one of them was like, I still don't like the goaltending. And it's like, okay, that's 100% fair. And I understand why you have that sentiment. When you look at Tampa, how many goalies can you legitimately say could match the level of Vasilevsky? Because I can think of 4 other ones.
And we saw that last playoffs too. Shesterkin versus Vasilevsky.
Exactly. And that's one of them. Like it's Shesterkin, it's Sorokin, it's Saros, and I'm inclined to let's include Connor Hellebuck in that as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Who historically could do it. I mean, we can throw Linus Allmark in there too. He's having a really good year. Like, I don't want to discredit him. That's 5 other goaltenders. There are 32 teams. Are any of these goalies available? Like, I just don't. We're never. The goaltending is always going to be that mystery when it comes to the series.
Okay. Anything else?
No. No.
Okay, I'm just going through stuff. The Habs and Leaf did play last night. I think the Canadians looked like a team that was missing 10 NHL regulars.
Yeah.
And Jake Allen did everything he could. I just wanted to mention quickly off the top here. Obviously, for a couple of years now, I've been saying that I want to see Raphael Harvey Pinard get his way into the lineup. 12 games this year, 7 goals, 9 points. Not bad for a
Mm.
seventh round pick. Just wanted to say that plays his way to the top line. Here's a nice little nugget that I saw on Twitter. Did you know that actually before this year, Nick Suzuki and Raphael Harvey Pinard have actually been on the ice together before?
Really?
Let's think. Let's think.
In
Daniel, you think World Juniors? I think CHL. That's what we're guessing.
I'm
here.
thinking, yeah, CHL. I don't, or under 18.
So Harvey Pinard, off the top of my head, I believe probably played in the Q. Yeah, he did, and obviously Suzuki played in the O.
Yeah,
So
that's the issue.
now, obviously, Mr. Harvey Pinard was drafted at 20 years old. So he was invited to Vegas camp years ago, where
Oh.
obviously Nick Suzuki was at one point a member of that organization.
You know how far back I thought you were gonna go?
No, I'm
It's
not
like, I
Ron
found a
McLean.
photo.
I was gonna say that's got to be the most Ron McLean stat you've talked about.
Here's a picture of them in like Bantam.
No, I was not. No, it was going around on Hap's Twitter a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and also like this article about Nick Suzuki, about him, Cody Glass, and Eric Branstrom got really close because they thought they were going to be the future of the Vegas Golden Knights, and
Oh, God.
now they're not there anymore. Yeah, what a wild organization. And this thing of like, oh yeah, George McPhee, obviously, he's like, yeah, he traded a younger player before and he was worried about it biting him again, being Philip Forsberg, I assume.
Yeah.
And all these years, Nick Suzuki bit them in 2021.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, I thought that was really funny. Justin Barron, also, I wanted to mention, since being called up and getting the lineup regularly, has been really good. Happy for him. Especially now that Arbor Jackey's out indefinitely. We don't know the full thing of that yet because he's seeing a specialist.
So it's not season ending.
No, I mean, not right now. It's not. But I mean, when Arbor Jackey gets hurt and he goes off the ice, you're a little worried here. This was a big thing. Now, originally, this was mentioned by Pierre LeBrun on TSN. That's why I'm not saying it's Jeff Merrick, because Pierre had it earlier in the week. Pierre LeBrun in Insider Trading basically saying like it's not going to look like a very juicy deadline for the Montreal Canadiens. Last year, obviously, it was fun. It was heartbreaking. Lekin and Kulak, we missed them all. However, it seems to be a big problem for the Canadiens this time around is if we talk about Joel Edmondson, who is a UFA next summer, not this one, and we see Sean Monahan, who is a UFA. They're hurt.
Right.
Monahan could be. St. Louis said that Monahan had plateaued. I don't know what that means in rehab, but
I don't know what that means either.
He's not getting stronger, just staying in the injury.
I don't know, man.
Phase? I don't know.
If they can get in the lineup as soon as possible and start getting their value up, I mean, everyone will just kind of keep singing about Edmondson to the Oilers. But, I can't fault Kent Hughes for not being able to trade Edmondson and Monahan if they can't play. Like, the Monahan move was already a home run considering you got a first-round pick. He came in and was great.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think they would have liked to have kept him and traded him because I think if he played the full year, I think he was going to be worth at least a late one. I've been saying that all year, but then when you don't play for like 5 months, it's kind of hard to say that.
I mean, like, that's still not out of the question, though. Like, maybe this year it's out of the question, but I don't see why he wouldn't want to resign. Like, I think if he comes back next year, it's not like he's not going to have a spot on this team, and you trade him this time next year. Like, that's still an option.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you can, people mention Josh or Anderson, but that's probably an easier deal if you're going to do it. Probably in the off season because of his cap hit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. It's still a little disappointing, though. I'll say that as a Habs fan because you want. This is because Kent Hughes has been so vocal about wanting another first-round pick, but then maybe that's Anderson in the off season. And I just hope he's lying, saying they want to keep him. Please get rid of that contract, especially because Gallagher still hasn't played in how long, and they can't afford 2 of those contracts. Please. But like I guess now it's really just I think they mentioned Dodonov could be going if some team doesn't get their big offensive dude.
Right.
Despite Jonathan Druin's come out and been point per game in his last 12 technically played games, there's not a lot of interest on him, and even if you retain half, that's like more than $2 million.
Yeah.
Um, if anything, you still see Kent Hughes cleaning up the mess of Mark Bergevin at points here.
Yeah, and at the same time, like I understand why it's upsetting, but I don't look at it as the end of the world, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's just I think if there's one thing you can criticize Kent Hughes for, it's been this rumor that they could have gotten a first for Josh Anderson. We don't know the team or something, but that was going around.
Right.
But everyone else, I can't really. This is going to be a tough stretch. The Canadians, obviously, they have the most difficult schedule of any team. They got absolutely crap kicked out of them by the Hurricanes, where Mario St. Louis was losing his mind with them. They lost a pretty, I think it was an expected loss by Habs fans against the Leafs. It's not going to get easier.
Right.
So it's going to be a rough couple. How much long is left in the season? Just under 2 months.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah, I
long.
mean, no rush. You're right. We look at the bigger picture here as always, and again, I like what you said. The whole cleanup of Mark Bergevin's moves. It's still lingering, that mess, and I like that the development of all these guys is going in the right direction because we've mentioned, Raphael Harvey-Pinard, Justin Barron, two guys that, they were kind of question marks coming in to the season, and now they're getting a chance. So it's good to see.
Barron especially, because I remember being very disappointed, like the organization were with his training camp, and that's obviously why he ended up starting with the Rocket. But it's good to see him coming back. Now it's the hope as Caulfield comes. Well, I mean, the Caulfield contract is probably something that we're still wondering about, and I'm getting increasingly concerned why it's not signed. I'm not gonna lie to you there. But yeah, Josh Anderson. Let's move that in the offseason.
Who's Caulfield's agent?
I think it's Pat Brisson.
You're good, man. You're good. Don't worry. Your summer will be fine.
I mean, yeah, it's not a Mr. God, what's his name again? I'm so annoyed I don't remember it because it was in the news for so long. What's Marner's agent's name?
Not Alan Walsh.
Oh my
No, not
God.
Alan
Why
Walsh.
can't I remember his
Even though
name?
Flames fans aren't very
Well-
happy with Alan Walsh right now.
Yeah,
It's annoying
Oh
that we
my
can't
God.
remember it. Especially
No, this
'cause it
is
was
good. This is good. This is why Darren Ferris. I just searched
Darren
him.
Ferris,
you
that's
go.
it. Yeah, it's
Listen,
annoying that he's being so quiet.
I'd rather not remember his name, to be honest. So I'm good with that.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, I'm just going through my phone to find little nuggets to see if we're missing something before we go to the next major storyline here. Feel bad for Max Pacioretty, by the way. There's a picture of him at the outdoor game last night, like in a brace and everything. God, I feel bad for him. Saw this tweet. Max Pacioretty, who watched the Habs morning skate today, this was before the Carolina one, played more games with Ales Hemsky and Rinat Valiev than anyone in the current Habs lineup not named Jonathan Druitt.
Sorry, did you say Rinat Valiev?
Yes.
Wow.
Mechanics deal.
Yeah. No. Oh, I remember. I remember the name. That's why I recognize the name.
That was wild. That was actually
Wow.
so stupid to remember.
Well, you said Alex Hemsky,
Yeah,
but he was a Hab.
he was.
Oh,
Didn't last long, had a concussion. It was a
Oh,
it
I
was a
always
mess.
remembered him as a Oiler or a Star.
I was about to say, come on, I think it was Dallas Star. Before that Carolina game, by the way, the Hurricanes introduced Cam Ward to the Carolina Hurricanes Hall of Fame. Here's what really annoyed me about watching that, besides the fact that I had to watch it. So Tom Dundon is there. Obviously, he's there. I can't remember the GM's name.
Don Waddell.
Don Waddell is there. Don Waddell's got a suit on. Everyone's looking pretty dapper. Tom Dundon is there in a tracksuit and a hat, and his arms are crossed. I'm like, you are so disrespectful, and he just doesn't look interested at all. I'm like, can you at least try? I know you haven't been around long enough to remember Cam Ward, probably, Mr. Dundon, but relax. I mean, no offense to Cam Ward, even though he's kind of, had like one good season, and then it was kind of like
No, he was all right.
I mean,
Okay, I don't know
one
why.
elite season.
When I was a
elite
kid, I really liked Cam Ward.
I think
I don't
he
know
gets
why.
a bit too criticized nowadays, but
Yeah,
he was never. I don't think he was ever that as good as he was that one year. You know,
yeah. I think because of that, I think he was consistent when the Hurricanes didn't know what they were doing.
which is a shame.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
like they know what they're
Sorry,
doing
guys.
now.
I,
Oh, sorry, go on, Alex.
I just pulled up his like some of his stats. Some of his games played are like ridiculous.
What are
Yeah.
they?
Uh in consecutive seasons he played 60 games, 69 games, 68 games. That same season he played 18 playoff games. 47 in 1 year. The year after, he played 74. He went 37, 26, and 10. Then he played 68 games.
Yeah, they really didn't know what they were doing, did they?
Yeah.
Holy.
Oh,
Him and to my boy
goalie.
Eric, they know what they were doing.
Oh, man.
Get another goalie, guys. What are you doing?
And now they have 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wanna
they
listen to
went the
what-
opposite way.
Yeah, they really did.
They were ahead of the curve for the whole "you need 2 goalies" thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're gonna be the team that makes 3 goalies work somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah, shout out to when they all get hurt in the playoffs, probably. Because
This is when they realize, you know why? Carolina, they forgot they don't have a taxi squad anymore.
Yeah,
Oh,
that might be it.
fair enough. Guys, do you know what the definition of insanity is? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And as Alan Walsh says, also negativity sucks the joy right out of players. CC Calgary Flames. Now, they did win last night. This was following a pretty tough loss, though, and even last night when they played the Rangers, they were up 2-0 and had to win it in overtime. Jonathan Huberdeau said he didn't know anything about it, which, if it's true, this is the second time there's been a direct shot at the coach from Alan Walsh without his client knowing. I'm sure this time around, Adam Wilde will not criticize it because he has a podcast with Alan Walsh, but that's just me.
Can I just say something real quick?
Go ahead.
We have a trade.
Oh.
Okay, scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, dude, it's like a 5. It's
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's good.
Not
okay.
bad.
Okay. The Ottawa Senators have acquired Julien Gauthier and a conditional 7th round pick in 2023 for Tyler Mott.
Wait. Who? To who?
The Rangers.
Rangers.
Yeah.
Oh, so they got Tyler Mott back. He was a Ranger, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Talk
You know what's
about,
crazy? Okay, this is
yeah.
the crazy thing I hear from like this is my first reaction for this trade. The height difference between both players.
Why?
Why?
What's the height difference?
Like Julien Gauthier is like what, almost 6'5"?
Is he?
Yeah, he's huge. Like he was supposed to be like a tip, modern power forward when he was drafted.
Whoa, hold on.
I have the conditions.
Please read this.
Should the Rangers advance past the first round of the 2023 Stanley Cup Finals, which they will, the pick will improve to the lower of the Rangers or the Jets 2023 6th round selection.
Okay.
So it's a 6th round pick. And Julien Gauthier, like I don't understand I whatever. You do you, bro. Like that's sick. It's a
They're
6th round
around the
pick.
same age too, right? Like
No,
Mott's like 3 years older.
Gauthier is younger.
He's like, he was like the 2016 draft, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Time to take Tyler Mott off of the big board. Gonna update our trade thing after that. Tyler Mott.
Oh man.
There you go.
Okay, let's go back to the Calgary Flames unless we want to discuss this trade.
No. Okay, great. The Rangers get a depth guy because they have Summing Locision's playing. Cool. Yeah, no, good move. They needed another depth guy. Yeah, maybe it's time for Daryl Sutter to go.
Maybe. I don't know.
Can I just say something about the tweet?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not going to criticize Alan Walsh for tweeting. This isn't a critic. He can do whatever the hell he wants. I
It's
don't
great
care.
content.
It's great
stuff.
content. Am I the only one who looks at this as a massive distraction to the team? I get they won yesterday. That's super cool. Is that not a distraction for the team?
I mean, was it not a
is.
distraction when Marc-Andre Fleury or when Alan Walsh did the same thing about
Yes,
Marc-Andre
yes, it
Fleury?
was. Yeah, it
No,
was.
of course.
The
Yeah, it is.
sword.
It's awful.
Okay, I just wanted to put that out there. I just didn't
Like-
understand why that
like,
wasn't a
that-
topic of discussion.
I'll
That
give him
sort-
credit though
Yeah.
for protecting his clients, or actually like being in like their best interest, but in an extreme way.
Do you think that really protected his client? Like I mean this
I don't know.
because from my perspective it is, and listen, I don't know the agent game. Like I'm just looking at it completely as an outsider. When you tweet something like that, and when you tweet something like you did with Marc-Andre Fleury, you are directing all the attention to your client. What was the most talked about thing in Calgary the other day?
That tweet,
Jonathan
Huberdeau.
Jonathan Huberdeau and his lack of production in Calgary. Not yes, Daryl Sutter was brought up, but let's go through the comments. Let's go see what people have been saying about Jonathan Huberdeau lately, because they haven't been great things. Like,
No.
and it's not all his fault. Like, let's talk about Daryl Sutter. Sorry, I don't mean to go on a tangent, but like,
That's fine. Go ahead.
at some like it's a distraction for Jonathan Huberdeau. Like, he was asked about this yesterday. That's my thing. But Daryl Sutter, I don't know. Like, to me, it seems like it's a lack of not change, like compromise. Like, you have to see that this isn't the same team as last year, right? That's what this comes down to.
A lot of moving pieces there,
Yeah.
right? That we've talked about it in our off-season preview, that there's just so much going on in Calgary, that there is the talent. There are the ability of this team to, recoup what they lost in trades and free agency, but that previous group was together for so long and they were crucial pieces. So I kind of agree with that there just hasn't been that same chemistry we saw before.
When people are like, the music today is not as good as it used to be. I think that's Daryl Sutter when he looks at the Calgary Flames. Man, we were really good with Johnny Gaudreau and that. Make it work! Make it work, man! Your defensive core is nasty! It took you how long to finally go with Dan Vladar? Come on, make it work! Make it work, my man! You're not being paid all this money, and it's just the thing about like attention being on him. You think Daryl Sutter's gonna be any kinder or give any more leeway to Jonathan Huberdeau now?
No.
No, of course not. You think Daryl Sutter cares what Alan Lois is going to tweet? No. He's at that age where he doesn't care. He can go back to his farm wherever he lives, and he's not going to blink about this twice if he gets fired. Oh man, the Flames are starting to get to that point where it's kind of like how I feel about Alex Kerfoot when I'm like, just trade him already because I'm sick about hearing about this. I'm starting to get to the point where Daryl Sutter, when I don't want him around anymore because I'm just like, the bit's gone stale. Like about his, like, those old videos of him just being, that dry humor stuff. No. Come on. The greatest coaches in the league now are guys like Rod Brindamore, who's like this, your happy uncle. Daryl Sutter's not that. He's a grumpy grandpa, sorry. Not, I just think the Flames need to, I don't know if they're going to fire him, but everyone knows about the thing with the owner and how much you like. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think it's safe to say that this relationship probably shouldn't continue. It's not fruitful anymore. They're just it's like staying together for the kids, but at this point, the kids are adults. They're past college or whatever. I don't know what we're doing anymore.
I think his brand of coaching, and like the way I'm seeing it, is it's like lightning in a bottle, right? And I'm looking back on the success the Flames had before with Iginla. And then I'm looking also at the LA Kings, that they were able to be so dominant for that one window with Daryl Sutter. But then what happened after that? That the message wasn't the same anymore. So like, I don't know, this Calgary reached a point with him already that that magic is not there anymore.
That's a possibility. Like, just to go back to Adam's point about like what the best coaches in the league do, there's a level of adapting that's done. Like, you don't get the same cast of characters on every team. Like, go look at listen, I'm going to use John Cooper. I can use Jared Bednar too. Like, go look at the change of players on a constant basis on those two teams. They're not the same. Now, I think the difference between those two teams and the Calgary Flames are, listen, the stars changed. No more Kachuk, no more Goudreau, bringing in Kadri and Huberdeau. Like, yeah, I understand it's a different group, but at the same time, you have to adapt. Like, there has to be some adaptation here. Like, you can't play the same style with different groups of players. You can miss Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk all you want, but at the end of the day, they're not coming back. This is the group of guys you can have. You can make, who made shots at management before? Mike Babcock. Yeah. Where that was the
yeah, exactly.
Right. But for different reasons, but like that, him making shots at taking shots at management did not help him. Him running out Patrick Marleau in the last 2 minutes of a playoff game did not help him.
Okay, just move on because we have a few more things I want to get to that are kind of important.
Yeah.
100 points in 56 games for Connor McDavid.
Not Connor Bedard.
Not bad. Well, and
Connor Bedard.
Yet.
I think
we're getting to that, Alex.
Sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know. How was I supposed to know?
Because I mentioned McDavid. We'll get to that. Don't worry.
Okay.
No, yeah, fine, whatever. Notable CHL players with back-to-back 100-point seasons prior to turning 18. Connor Bedard, John Tavares, Sidney Crosby, Vincent Legabe, and Mike Bossy. There. Go ahead.
No, nothing. I didn't know you were going to bring up Connor Bedard.
Oh, we were.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're good. Just be named Connor and you're going to be gross.
Exactly. Are you going to name your child Connor?
No, yes. I'm naming him Cedric and my daughter Rose. If the woman I marry one day doesn't like it, that's tough.
Too bad. I'm going to go with Connor. I'm going to go with Connor. Well, Cedric after Cedric Paquette.
You're not
after Cedric Paquette.
From Cedric the Entertainer?
No.
I hit my desk so hard it sent the mic out.
Oh man!
I didn't hit the mic, Daniel. Don't worry. It's just
okay. It's okay. Don't worry.
I didn't. I don't know what happened.
The microphone belongs to the podcast now.
Shout out to my setup being as reliable as the Anaheim Ducks. Shout out to them saying that Phoenix Copley didn't want to fight with John Gibson, and then the King saying Phoenix Copley has as many wins as you have all season.
Dude, that's classic.
By the way, the refs let the goalie fight happen. Losers.
Yeah.
Do St. Louis and LA play again this season?
Oh,
you know what I'm thinking? I'll double check, but you know what I'm thinking. I don't need to say it.
Jordan, what's there to fight for this season now?
My mic is back.
There we go.
Hey. But you know what I mean? What's there to fight for now?
What's there to fight when you're down 4-0 and taunting the other team's bench? Nothing. You're down 4-0.
He's such a loser. He's such a weenie.
Okay, they play March 4th and March 26th.
Shout out to Marty Walsh, who in the middle of March will officially be taking post as executive director of the NHLPA. Hopefully the money he got from Jeremy Jacobs when he was running for mayor isn't going to be a sign of things to come. Fingers crossed. Mm-hmm. What's mission number 1 for the PA? You can't say getting the players more involved because that's been said to death over numerous podcasts.
Okay, I have one.
Okay.
Let's find a way to let's find a way to not have the salary cap only go up $1 million this offseason.
Oh, he took mine away.
But yeah, let's not let the league bend them over after having record revenue. Losers.
Right.
I was going to say that.
Sorry,
too.
Daniel.
That's okay.
You want me to think of a second one?
No, it's okay. Well, mine was worded differently. It was like gradual increase after the 1 million. So, it was, they complement each other.
What's another one? I can't think of one. I was gonna go with get the players more involved. Like that's such a big
Yeah.
one, so I don't take that away from us. But it got us thinking. I like that.
Bally Sports. We'll
yeah.
move on.
Oof.
Please do a good job. Everything to hear Sinclair and all that, skipping out on that. Oh no!
Oh,
Excuse
come
me,
on.
heard that. If you skipped out on that massive payment, millions and millions of dollars, so bankruptcy looks to be coming. I think it's 12 NHL teams basically going to be affected by this. Canadians, we won't really be affected, obviously, because TSN and that are it's different. It's completely different. I do wonder if there's a route here where eventually regional blackouts become extinct.
Maybe.
Dude, I'm crossing my fingers.
Bali Sport, it's mostly Californian teams, right? That's what I know from
Hold on.
baseball.
I think I have them up here. So the NHL teams are Anaheim, Arizona, Carolina, Columbus, Dallas, Detroit. That's a big one. Florida, LA, Minnesota, Nashville, St. Louis, and the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm crossing my fingers that we move away from that. Like I'd like to watch as many games as possible, not the 3 or 4 that are on my television on a nightly basis.
One of the earliest rants I used to have on this podcast was, before I have this certain TV setup we now have in my home, I'm a Habs fan who lives in the GTA. I don't know if Pickering is technically the GTA, but it's kind of like Mississauga, where it's like it basically is. We can say it is.
Okay.
Even if it's not. Okay,
I think so.
I'm a Habs fan. As the jersey and the multiple carry price things behind me can tell you.
And the lighthouse.
Yeah.
He was the light for so long in Montreal.
Yes, he was. He was the and all that, the leading guy, like the BD1 Lego one show up Jedi Fallen Order. Anyway, unless it's a national broadcast, I don't get to watch or I used to not be able to watch the Canadians. Okay. I want and enjoy watching my hockey team play. And if you do not live in the market, and sometimes remember the Colorado stuff a couple of years ago, you can live in that market and you won't be able to watch it. I hope it's a way forward. I hope didn't the NBA just start this like the new streaming thing or whatever?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, what is sorry, I don't mean what is that? I saw him present it, but I didn't actually understand what it was.
Daniel,
it's like a subscription where you could basically watch every game, and there's an app for it.
Oh my god.
Oh please. Please.
Oh my god.
We don't even have like NHL Now anymore or whatever it was. Now we deal with Sportsnet now that's as functional as like a 3-legged horse. Doesn't make it's awful. Why is it so difficult to watch this country's most popular sport? Why do they make it so difficult to be a fan?
Dude, I would love to just I'm not even asking to watch all 32 teams. What I would ask for? Hey man, can I just watch all the Canadian teams? Like screw it, fine. Don't give me 32. Just give me 7.
Let me enjoy the sport that I love.
The same 2 companies literally have the rights across the country. Do they not? Is there another magical one I don't know of other than Sportsnet and TSN?
I think technically it's different in Quebec because it's TVA and LDS, but they're basically just sort of LDS is basically like the French TSN in a way. So, but they're basically like under that umbrella for the different language. So, but it's basically just TSN and Sportsnet.
Yeah, like you brought up the Colorado one. Literally in Ontario, if you live in Kingston, you may get the Ottawa Senators one, or you may get the Leafs one. Like it just depends. How ridiculous is that?
Well, here's the worst one: is if you live in Belleville, you are in the regional realm where you can watch the Sens, the Leafs, and the Habs. But we, again, in Toronto, cannot watch the Canadians when if you take the train, it is 4.5 hours away. It is that close. And we can't watch them play if it's a regional game. There will be Saturday games that are not picked up nationally. Saturday night games. A couple of years ago. Year after St. Louis won the Cup, when this podcast started, in that summer. Saturday afternoon, I think it was. The Canadians host the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues was not picked up nationally. If you did not live in Montreal or that area or Belleville, apparently, you could not watch it. That's where this sport is at. Again, it's not a Sportsnet issue. It's not technically a Bell issue. It's the NHL at the end of it. And it's so dumb and it's so... I'm having flashbacks right now. Thank God for IPTV.
The MLS is... ahead of the NHL in this. The MLS, who people don't even get me started. Like, whatever, man. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Jacob Vrana got called up. Hopefully that
That's
works out well for him. Rooting
surprising,
for
yeah.
him. Yeah. Keep going. Keep going. Shout out to Kevin Durant going on about the dunk competition. Maybe if you stars actually tried, maybe it would be going on. Hypocrite.
What, did he not like it?
Nah, he was just going on about nonsense.
You know Kevin Durant. You know Kevin.
What did
on
he say?
Twitter.
No, man, what did he say? I actually didn't see this.
It's just, it's fun. He's a fraud. That's all I'll say. It's Kevin to fraud.
But did he
the
not
island-
like it? Why didn't you tell me what he said?
It's just the thing, man. I'll let you go search it up. I'll let you go search it up. The Islanders are kind of bad, which is funny, but anyway. A few things here as I'm trying to quickly go through my many photos where I have all my notes. Those are names I got to add to the big board. Big board. Okay.
Big board.
Few notes here. So Jacob Chikrin's not going to play until he gets traded from Coach Andre Tournier, which is very annoying. He is out for trade-related reasons. We know this. We mentioned this. So is Vladislav Gavrikov. So is Tyler Mott.
He was the first domino.
Here's what's really dumb is I think this is very stupid to do because I think the longer you do this without anything being imminent, I think the more you're going to piss off the league. And I think they're going to remember that down the line.
Arizona can't piss off the league.
Yeah, that's true.
They've already done so much that they're still taken back. They're still supported.
They lost more draft picks than the Blackhawks did for covering up sexual assault scandal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
The Arizona Coyotes cannot piss off the league.
But can we just get this? Can them and the Kings just shut up and kiss? Can we just get this done? Or before the Boston Bruins move in and get him, because that's probably going to happen.
That could happen.
Like, just the way it feels, like who knows what prospects they have, but it's the Bruins, so it doesn't matter. They'll pull it off.
Yeah, like I mean,
do it.
But they have like Fabian Lysell.
It's a good pickup for the Kings. We've been talking about this for some time. Everyone's been talking about the Kings as an option.
Bergevin's telling them, no, the price is too much. We can't give up first round picks.
Can you guys
Only
tell me
for
about
Christian
this?
Dvorak.
So I'm looking for the Kings side, and we hear Brant Clark, for example, or Quentin Byfield is off the table, but like I'm just really confused. Like, what happened to Alex Turcotte's value?
I don't know.
Would you like him for Josh Andrews? May I have him for Josh Andrews?
Because remember when he was touted as like the next number one center for them, and then they're like, he'll be a solid second line center, and then ever since I heard that, like a few years after the draft, I just haven't heard much. Or if you look at a lot of hypothetical 2019 redrafts, it's like he's not even in the top 15.
I don't agree with everything this person says, but I remember Patrick is on the podcast. I think he said he wasn't super high on Turcotte as other people was, so he was right about that.
I mean, it's also his third professional year.
Yeah,
like that's also true.
Yeah, like I'm not particularly impressed. I don't know what his value is, but I'm not particularly impressed.
Would you like him for Josh Anderson?
My guess is they say no.
So I want to talk about a team very quickly here.
Okay.
This is a team I expected to play a little better this year. They did give the Panthers a thumping last night, but I really hope this GM is smart enough to realize where this team really is. They've been in the news recently because he went on to, I think he was doing Nashville media or something, like a radio show or something. And David Poile, GM of the Nashville Predators, said, not ready to save their salaries yet, but if things keep going the way they are. I think that was after they lost to the Coyotes, and they got absolutely bent by the Bruins. Chase Bobrovsky out last night, and they play the Minnesota Wild right now, which that screams a 4-point game to me, especially because right now they have 2 games in hand over the Wild and are 5 points behind them. And then if we also look right now, they are, if we look at this, 5 points back of the Flames with 3 games in hand. And then the Oilers are also in there. So those are the sort of main teams they need to beat, but the Oilers are 9 points ahead. You're not going to catch them. So this Wild game is actually extremely important for Nashville. Listen, I think it's time in Nashville. I think it's time to rebuild. It doesn't help that they just re-signed for the Forsberg, and Went and got McDonough, which I thought were both smart, great moves for them. Egg on my face there. I'm not wrong, but I think it's time in Nashville. I think we've played this game long enough.
I mean, I guess like I could agree. My question is, where on earth do you start? What are you moving and how?
Niederreiter,
Okay.
Ekholm. It doesn't look like they can do a lot at the deadline. It feels like a lot of off-season surgery, to be honest, doesn't it?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
to okay, let's go. Let's look who has relatively close to UFA status. Johansson has 3 years. Granlund has 3 years. Niederreiter has 2 years. Uh, Ekholm is 4. McDonough is 4. You know who's going to be a UFA in 3 years? UC Saros. Listen, I'm not saying they trade UC Saros. I'm just, if you're gonna rebuild, he's gonna be 30 in 3 years, right? Like, again, just an idea.
Good thing they have a goalie in the system.
Exactly.
That will help with
Exactly.
this. Would help with this
Okay,
rebuild.
hold on. I'm going to
Exactly.
rewind to a conversation we had a couple weeks ago because I want to. Because when I said you need two goalies, at this point, because of the surgery that needs to be done, I think it's time to. Again, I don't like trading goaltenders, but I'm sitting here and I don't want you to waste his career like you probably did Pekkarinen.
I mean, they had that finals appearance.
And what happened?
Rejuvenated the Nashville market. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
like
I understand.
guys. Oh, just one thing, Dan, before I throw it back to you. The equivalent of having a jersey thrown on the ice happened in Nashville the other day against the Bruins. You guys see what happened?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
threw, for anyone who didn't, they threw a catfish on the ice. Normally that's for that's a fun thing, but they were getting destroyed. They threw a catfish. That's like throwing a Carrie Underwood album there. But you get it because I remember Carrie
Yeah, I got it.
because of Mike Fisher and yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
No, I agree. Like, yes, they're probably gonna have to rebuild. Like, they're gonna have to rebuild. The question is, to me, is how on earth do you start this? And you're not starting it. This, like, are you gonna trade Tanner Jeannot? That's the option right now.
What is he though? It's not been a great year compared to last year.
Middle 6, top 9 guy. But I kind of agree. Yeah, like, we had our fun last year. The return of Matt Duchene and to a certain extent Ryan Johansson.
They got destroyed by
But
the Avs.
I don't know. Maybe would they take the Kings route because they kind of have to take the LA Kings route where
Which was
you just because who's gonna take these contracts for this long?
So
Okay.
a retool on the fly.
More of like you just play the guys, see what you can do. Maybe you'll get lucky with a second overall pick, a top 5 pick here and there, a top 10 pick. And then you retool when you think that you have the right young core and, trade strategically, I think. Like, Tyler Toffoli as an example. Because,
Get something
Niederreiter after this year's 1 year.
You could give something for Niederreiter. I mean, I think that's a good player. I think a team could like him as a middle 6 scorer.
See, to me, like, I'm looking at okay, it's gonna be a tough one to move, no doubt. But Matt Duchene has 43 points in 52 games this year. Now, gonna be a tough contract to move, 100%. Here's where the issue begins. July 1st, 2023.
Oh no.
He has a modified no trade clause where he submits a 7-team no trade list. So which is all of Canada. Let's just be real. It's all of Canada. He's done his time here for a year and a half or whatever it was.
So sorry, just one thing here. Remember how David Poyle's thing for years was he didn't give trade protection out to people? I think like Yossi was like an exception in that. You gave it to Duchesne?
Yeah.
Remember how hot the market was for him?
Is that how you outbidded the Canadians for him? You gave him what are you thinking? Thank God the Habs didn't do that, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh man. Why does he have trade protection? Why?
There's like one. Well, McDonough doesn't count. So Yossi, Forsberg, and Duchesne.
You know why? It's from desperation out of a need, right? Because remember that whole thing with Nashville before? It's like
They needed a first line center.
they need a first line center, and then they went out and it's like, okay, Cal Turris didn't work out. Okay, Ryan Johansson didn't work out. Okay, Matt Duchene didn't work out, but you still kept giving them money.
Yeah, when does Poyle lose his job? Because what ownership was saying, hey buddy, listen, maybe it's time for a new voice here.
If he decides they're not going to rebuild, my guess is he's gone within a year or two of that. That would be my guess. I don't know, because the thing is, like, and I think Daniel, you made a really good example that they're like they're going to have to go the LA Kings route, and they're set up to go in the LA Kings route contract wise too. Now, not the same. I'm just comparing them. Roman Yossi just signed an extension, and Philip Forsberg signed an extension.
Yep.
Who did the LA Kings have? Drew Doughty and Anze Kopitar. I'm not saying they're of the same quality. I'm just saying that's what they mean to the franchise. Like, they're that the lengths of those contracts are 8 more years, and you're not moving those two. Like, that's just not happening.
All right. That's everything for now. Thank you for listening. I was just cleaning stuff up. Gotta add Tyler Mott to the trade tracker. 2-1 podcast trade tracker. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for listening. Said that already. One of you two do the outro.
All right. Thanks for listening to another episode. Make sure to check us out on all social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Throw a review. I saw we finally hit 10 5-star reviews on Spotify, so that's cool.
Whoa.
Still have that 2-star on iTunes.
I want to know who that is.
We need to ask the fantasy league to give us more reviews on Spotify.
I don't want to ask. I don't want to ask the
them
fantasy
that.
league.
No, that's the word. Daniel, that's a horrible.
Sorry.
By the way, March 1st is our trade deadline. By the way, guys, remember that.
Okay.
Isn't it also the league's trade deadline?
No, it's the third. 2 days after.
Yeah.
Fair. That would have been funny. All right. That is everything. Bye-bye.
Bye.